All right, what is going on, everybody? I hope you're all doing well, and thanks so much for watching. We are checking out the new Revv G3 version 2. Great sounding amp in a box pedal. Of course, it's based on the purple channel of the flagship model tube amplifier that Revv makes called the Generator 120. There's been an anniversary model made of that amplifier, as well as a new amp called the G50. And these were all kind of iterations of Dan Trudeau doing tweaks to his designs. And because this pedal is based on that preamp, we have the version 2. Now, to my ears, this pedal sounds a little bit more open. It definitely feels more amp-like even than the previous pedal, which is really cool. It seems to have more saturation on tap. Let's get right into what's on top of it. Pretty straight ahead tone stack in that top row. So you got bass, middle, and treb. It's pretty darn active, so just little tweaks make a big difference. We will check that out in the demo for sure. Bottom left, volume. Bottom right, gain. We'll get into what all that does in the demo. There's a three-way switch here in the center that allows you to choose between aggression modes, and it's the same exact switch that's on the amplifier. So in the middle position, it's off. So that means there's no aggression. That's like the standard, let's just call it gain. If you throw it up to the blue position, that's going to give you more gain, and it's going to get shelved a little bit tighter. You'll hear more top end, more gain, maybe a little more focused upper mid. And then if you go to the down position, which is the red mode, it's going to get quite a bit more saturated, more lows and highs, and what I would describe as perceived less mids, but it's just because we're bringing the two sides of the spectrum up. We'll definitely get into how that sounds in the demo. On-off switch there at the bottom, pedal board friendly, ins and outs. Yeah, let's check this thing out. It is the new Revv G3 version 2. All right, let's check this thing out. Here's the guitar straight into the amp. And here is the Revv G3 version 2. Okay, cool. So I just threw, this aggression switch in different directions. I started with it in the blue mode, which is kind of my favorite mode overall, but it's also tighter for rhythm. But I will say that the red aggression mode feels better for solos because it's more saturated. But while we're on that subject, I'm going to leave the gain at around noon. and not mess with EQ or any of that gack as of yet. And I'm just going to throw the aggression switch. So right now it's in the off position, which would be considered no aggression. Now I'll go to the blue mode. That's got more top end push, maybe a little bit tighter, kind of upper mid. The whole thing is just shelved to sound a little bit more focused. And of course, there is a little bit more gain there. Now I'll throw to the red mode. Okay, so at the very end there, I was only going back and forth really between the blue mode and the red mode. In that red mode, more low end, definitely more top end. I think there's perceived less mids, but it's just because we've kind of brought the outer edges up within the way that that's EQ'd. And like I said, way more saturated, great for solo tones. So that's what's going on with that. I'm going to leave it in the center. And let's look at the gain. So with it all the way off, this is definitely kind of a modern, more high gain pedal. So, and this is in the off aggression mode. Here's about midway up. All the way up. Now I'll do the same thing quickly in the blue mode. I mean, it's immediately tighter, but more saturated. Now I'll do the same thing, red mode, gains all the way off. And even with the gain all the way off, you can still hear that those aggression modes, even in just how they're shelved. Midway up. So, you know, a cool trick would be to you could turn the volume up, keep the gain softer in the blue aggression mode. So there's all kinds of ways to dial it. You can certainly get quite a bit above unity with this pedal. So if you want to go the other direction and push that way, you can. Let's leave the gain here. I'll go back to the off aggression mode, and let's just sweep the EQ. Start with treble. Off. So yeah, it'll go super, super clear. It doesn't get too ice picky. It starts to kick in from, that off position, which is nice and dark. About, I would say 11 o'clock, it really starts to kick in, and then you can just kind of go from there. It depends on what I'm doing, but, I like it kind of in this range, which would be about, just below noon. Okay, let's do the middle. The middles. That's off. Here's noon. All the way up. So it's a lower mid to my ears, a little bit kind of darker mid. Once again, depends on what I'm doing. If you're going to run the mids hotter like that, you just add top. It's a super active EQ, so it doesn't take much to get a desired result. Let's do the bass now. Here's the bass off. Bass midway up. Bass all the way up. Now that's going to vary if you're, say, in the blue mode. There's already more low end. So yeah, really versatile sweep. Depends on what aggression mode you're in and what you're going for. I would say my favorite setting is probably going to be the blue mode, just because it's so clear. All right, guys, that is the Revv G3 version 2. If you've got any other questions about it, go to the website and check it out. And as always, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you on the next one.